Thanks very much for tuning in today. I know it's been very impromptu and very short notice, but yeah, I'll be sure to publish this as a video once it's finished. But yeah, today I just wanted to do a little bit of a brainstorming session. I'll give some future ideas about where I want to take this channel. Been some really amazing last few months. It's really rapidly grown, so that's been really amazing. It's growing a bit quicker than I thought, so yeah, I've had to kind of change my thinking a little bit, you know, the future plans for the channel and that sort of stuff. So yeah, thank you very much for making this channel such a success. Really appreciate that, all your support. It's been about 15-16 months since I've started it now, so that's been really amazing. It's gone from strength to strength. That's really good. J-Fly, thank you very much for tuning in, mate. Always appreciate your patronage of the channel. That's really fantastic. Keep up the great work yourself. Anyway, so yeah, I think now we're over 1,000 subscribers. I think it's really important I kind of get to that consolidation phase of the channel. Really want to kind of make it more sustainable and also improve upon it. Just continually improve it for the future. Basically I'll just update you what the current plan is. So for the next few months I've got plenty of content still from my recent Asia trip, so that will continue pretty well on as normal for the next 2 months or so until early January. So yeah, I've got all my Sri Lanka content still coming out, plenty of episodes in that series. Got plenty of content coming from Taiwan in coming weeks as well, so that would be really cool. And there's still a bit of lingering content from Malaysia as well. Still a fair few flight reviews to get through as well, so I'll probably cycle through them every sort of second week or so to make them last. This afternoon at 5 o'clock, so in about an hour and 20 minutes I've got my Firefly flight review as well, so that would be really great. Anyway, but yeah, come January, that's when I'll go traveling again on the east coast of Australia. So that's probably when I'll, you know, make some channel slight changes and improvements to my channel. Also potentially looking at implementing some new initiatives and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, basically I'm going to cover this a live stream. We'll just see where it goes today. But yeah, I'm going to cover it sort of in 4 sort of segments. So the first segment is just basically I'm going to sort of go over some of my potential plans for my summer campaign traveling around the East Coast. Some ideas I want to explore about doing. So yeah, and then I'll probably then go, you know, my future international plans as well next year. So that will be sort of segment 1. So I'll outline some of the locked in plans I have and then some of the potential plans as well, and I'll get some feedback, see what people are interested in, that sort of stuff as well. You know, what airlines they want me to try and what experiences and what destinations I want me to go to and that sort of stuff. Segment 2 will be more about channel feedback and improvements, you know, so getting your feedback, what I do well, and then obviously your constructive feedback where I can improve and all that sort of stuff. Segment 3 will be all about possible and new initiatives for the channel and sort of my content. I've got heaps and heaps of ideas to implement on this channel, but yeah, I am mindful that I probably can't implement them all, or certainly not at this stage in time as well. It's just time and resources, you know. So plenty of ideas, so I just got to narrow down a few that I can really get to nail. And then yeah, the last segment will be kind of about sustainability, just about making the channel sustainable. Like everything I've produced on this channel, whether it's when I started off when I was doing, you know, driving videos and covering local destination content, you know, whether it's videos that only got, you know, less than 100 views, or videos that have got nearly 10,000 views. Every video, I really appreciate the, you know, the views, the support, the patronage, that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's just about, yeah, making the channel sustainable, managing that workload, and sort of, yeah, just making it a good experience for everyone, you know. So anyway, let's go back to my first segment. So the first segment that I want to cover is about my future travel plans for the channel. So first things first, I still got plenty of flight reviews to release in the meantime between now and January. But yeah, first new flight that I've got locked in at this stage is I'm going to take JetSetter over to Adelaide in mid-January from here in Perth. That's going to be on an Airbus A321neo. So that's going to be fantastic. That's actually going to be the first time me flying a neo. So yeah, I've really never been more excited to fly JetSetter. And funnily enough, I haven't actually done a JetSetter Australia review on the channel. I've done a couple from in New Zealand, but I haven't actually done one from Australia. Plus it's a neo and all that sort of stuff. So I think that'll be a great way to start the new year. Anyway, some of you that really know me on a personal level might know I like to go to Melbourne every year for the Australian Open because I'm a big tennis fan. So usually I go over there every year for a week or so, and then, you know, I kick off some travels around my trip to Melbourne, you know. So this year I thought I'll go to Adelaide first, and then I can make my way across to Melbourne. So I'm fairly confident I'm going to do the overland train, which is like a 11-hour train journey that goes all the way from Adelaide to Melbourne. It's one of the most iconic journeys you can do in Australia. It's kind of like operated by Journey Beyond, so it's kind of like gives you a bit of a one-day preview, I guess. You know, I'm not saying it would be like the Indian Pacific or the Ghan or something, but it gives you just a little bit of a snapshot. So I think that would be a really great review to do. So I'm definitely looking at doing that. It's only twice a week, so I definitely got to make sure I get on to booking that soon. But yeah, most likely I'll do that overland review. That will get me to Melbourne. Then I'll spend a week or so in Melbourne. When I'm in Melbourne, last year I did a V-line, so that's a interstraight Victorian train service. I reviewed their train to Ballarat. So yeah, definitely looking at doing, you know, just a one-day review again this year. Maybe I'll go to Bendigo or another regional Victorian destination. So yeah, definitely looking at doing a regional Victoria train review while I'm in Melbourne. That makes a lot of sense. And then also want to try do a lot of airline reviews for the first time while I'm over there. Obviously living in West Australia, we ain't really exposed to the whole Bonza frenzy that's going on at the moment. So obviously I definitely want to do a Bonza review while I'm over there. Couple of possibilities come to mind. I could do one out of Melbourne, maybe just go up to Mildura or something like that. Could do one from potentially like Newcastle or something to Sunshine Coast, or even do one from Tasmania to the Sunshine Coast or Gold Coast or something like that. So definitely want to do a Bonza review. I think that's pretty likely I'll lock in a Bonza review. Definitely want to try Rex, a regional 737 service as well. Just got to work out how I'd fit it in. Probably a Sydney to Gold Coast or something like that. I think that would work quite well with my plans. Yeah, I just see your comment, Jay Flyer, about yes, Tassie. If you look on my channel, I've actually got a whole series on Tasmania. That's when the channel wasn't very big. I only had probably a couple dozen subscribers, but that was one of my favourite trips I ever did, was a road trip around Tassie. absolutely beautiful part of the country, absolutely stunning. The national parks, the mountains, the scenery, the beaches, all that sort of stuff. So definitely want to go back to Tassie. Thank you very much from Tamara there. Thanks very much. Sounds like you're tuning in from New Zealand. Potentially might end up in New Zealand again next year as well. So that's really cool. I've been there 2 years running now. Plenty of New Zealand content on the channel. But yeah, going back to Tasmania, that is definitely a potential to go there again this year. Potentially, I've got special plans for that. I'll go on that a bit later. But yeah, looking at, so yeah, definitely a Rex regional 737 service. That would be really cool. Possibly try one of the smaller airlines as well, you know, a Fly Pelican, a Sharp Airlines, something like that, Link Airways. Definitely potential for there as well. With those sort of airlines, that would be a good opportunity to incorporate Tasmania on one of those sort of airlines, I reckon. Potentially, definitely want to do some more travel on the channel in Northern Australia as well. So, saying like an Air North review, and that would be really good. You can fly them Perth to Darwin via Kununurra, saying like that. A Nexus Airlines review, that's something I've been longing to do as well. I don't think anyone's actually done a Nexus Airlines review yet on YouTube. In case you never heard of them, they're a new airline here in West Australia. They started a couple months ago. They operate Q400 services, Perth to Geraldton, and then it's kind of like a milk run up the coast. They go to Karratha, then to Port Hedland, then they go to across up to Broome, across to Kununurra, and then all the way up to Darwin. So that could be a really cool one to do as well. Definitely just wanted to do a weekender up to Geraldton. It's only about a 45-minute, 1 hour flight north of Perth, but it's just been hard. They don't really have many weekend flights, so it's just been hard to organise. But yeah, definitely want to do a Nexus Airlines review as well, so that's really cool. And yeah, obviously, yeah, YM over East, definitely want to do a couple other train reviews as well. Most likely I want to do the XPT overnight sleeper. That will take me from Melbourne through to Sydney. You can do it both as a daytime service and an overnight service, but I think it might make more sense to do it as an overnighter. Consider it my night accommodation if you look at it that way, traveling between the two. So that would be really cool. What I really actually want to do this year, however, on the channel is I visited every state and territory in Australia. I've been to your Victorias and New South Wales. I've been to probably dozens of times. Actually lived in Canberra for a year and a half back in 2015, 2016. So done a lot of travel around Australia. Probably the only places I haven't really extensively done too much is the Northern Territory. I've only been to Darwin for 3 or 4 days. So definitely want to do a lot more in the Northern Territory. And I've only been to South Australia twice. Haven't really ventured too much out of Adelaide. Been to around the hills of Adelaide, and also been to Mount Barker. But yeah, definitely want to do more of South Australia. But I think that's probably what I want to do is drive over. Before the pandemic, I had plans to drive all the way from Perth over to Victoria, do the whole Great Ocean Road, do the Great Alpine Road, and yeah, do the Flinders Ranges in South Australia. Yeah, drive across the Nullarbor. That's ultimately one of the big things I want to do on this channel, is an over east road trip. That would be absolutely amazing. Like, oh, thanks very much for tuning in, Gone Caravanning. Thanks very much to those South Australia advice there. But yeah, definitely want to do a road trip in South Australia. I think that would be an amazing place for camping, great outdoors. That would be the ultimate place to drive over from Perth, I reckon. So yeah, that's definitely plans on the channel as well. But yeah, going on about talking about visiting all the Australian states and territories, I've visited them all. Something I haven't done yet is visiting the external territories of Australia. This is something I really want to do. Now, the external territories of Australia that are populated are Norfolk Island, which is approximately a 2.5 hour flight out over the Pacific, pretty well due east of Port Macquarie, I think, in New South Wales. It's kind of halfway between Sydney and Brisbane, and then straight off the coast. And then if you approach it from New Zealand, it's pretty well about halfway off the tip of the North Island of New Zealand, and then New Caledonia, which is a place I also really enjoyed in my visits last year. So yeah, and then the other populated territory is obviously Christmas and Cocos Islands, which is Christmas Island's only about an hour south of Java in Indonesia. So, and then Cocos Islands is a little bit more west. So I really want to do that as well. I think that one would be a little bit in the future. But yeah, so when I'm over east, going to Norfolk Island is something I'm seriously considering. It's actually quite expensive to get there, but I can get Qantas reward seats at 12,000 points. That brings it down to about $129 each way, I was saying. Still very expensive for a reward seat, but yeah, that's my best opportunity to do it. So yeah, really want to do Norfolk Island, 3-4 days, just explore the place, show you all around it. It looks really amazing. Then yeah, most likely you can fly back to Sydney, fly back to Brisbane. There is a possibility I could fly to Auckland. Air Chatham's fly ATR 72 these days, I think, to Auckland. It's only once a week, so potentially I could fly to Auckland, then maybe do the Bay of Islands in New Zealand in the middle of the New Zealand summer. I reckon that would be really good. So yeah, not ruling out doing the far north of New Zealand during the summer, the Bay of Islands. That would be really beautiful. So that's a few ideas where I'm at. So definitely probably going to go to Adelaide because I've got flights booked there. Definitely going to go to Melbourne, and then plenty of opportunities to do things from there. Another potential opportunity from Melbourne, another thing I've always wanted to do, actually leaves from Geelong now, but really want to do the Spirit of Tasmania ferry, cross the Bass Strait by ferry. That would be really amazing. Shame you can't take hire cars across the Bass Strait. So ideally I'd rather do it, when I drive my own car over. But yeah, it could be a really cool review to do, the overnight ferry or the daytime ferry. And then yeah, do a bit of Tassie content as well while I'm there. So that could be a possibility. Get the ferry down to Devonport, do a bit of more stuff around Cradle Mountain, Launceston, all that sort of stuff. Probably get a Bonza review out of Launceston. I think they fly at the Sunshine Coast, something like that. So that could be potentially an opportunity. Also, what I can do is lots of West Australia content as well. Plan to be around down Margaret River Way, down around Christmas time. So I can definitely do some WA content, more driving stuff, some more hikes. West Australia is a beautiful place. It's such a vast place. There's so much to see and do in West Australia. And yeah, I can do some more stuff locally around Perth as well. Absolutely longing to do some showcase of Perth Hills. Maybe do something from the Swan Valley, Avon Valley, showcase more of the beaches, all that sort of stuff. So plenty of stuff to do from just here around in Perth. Plenty of stuff I can do on weekends to show you around here. Anyway, Yeah, thank you, Jay Flyer, for confirming Bonz's going to the Sunshine Coast and the Goldie from the 21st of November. So I think that would be a really good opportunity. Interestingly enough, I was looking at potentially doing a Bonza flight review from, believe it or not, they're going to fly from Sunshine Coast and Gold Coast, both of those airports, all the way to Darwin. That's about a 4.5 hour flight. So that would be a really cool one to try. Then I can backtrack my way, maybe across to Kununurra, Broome, and then back down to Perth. So that could be a potential opportunity. Anyway, before I ask you guys some questions, and obviously most of you might not be tuning in at the moment, so obviously I'll post this video later on, and then people can leave their thoughts in the comments. But yeah, I'll just go to some of my international travel plans. So yeah, January, possibly early February, that's when I travel mainly around Australia. Guess it's possible I could venture over to New Zealand or Pacific Island destinations while I'm at it, but January, February, that's largely around Australia. Internationally, however, most likely I want to kick things off maybe around March, April, do another Asia trip. Done most of Southeast Asia. I think shortlist for the destinations will either be South Korea or Vietnam. They're two destinations I haven't been to yet. I think South Korea probably makes the most sense. I went to Japan just at the start of the pandemic when it was all breaking out. Absolutely loved Japan. So always been keen to just go to South Korea. So I'm thinking going to South Korea, and then yeah, I've got no reason why I wouldn't want to go back to Japan. So I could definitely incorporate Japan, a bit of Japan while I'm there as well. So that could be one option for, you know, February, March, something like that. Just a 1-2 week trip over there. The other option could be Vietnam. I've heard really good things about Vietnam. Absolutely had a blast on my recent trip in Sri Lanka and also in Southeast Asia. So I think Vietnam would be a great new place to add. It'd be a fairly affordable and an easy way to get there from Perth. Could try the VietJet flights, that new service that's starting from Perth. So that could be a cool one to do. So yeah, I think Vietnam or South Korea. Not sure if I could get them both in the same trip, but you never know. I think they're potentially short-term options. I think probably later in the year, usually when you go to the Northern Hemisphere, I actually quite enjoy traveling. You know, I've been to Europe 3 times. Haven't really documented it much on this channel just because I didn't have a channel at the time. So I've done some retrospective stuff on the channel from my travels in America and Europe. But yeah, if I went again, I'd definitely document it, you know, in real time on the channel. So yeah, I've been to the States, 2 big trips there where I've crisscrossed across Canada as well. I think if I went to America again, definitely I've been to about 28 of the states in America, so I've been to almost just over half of the states of America. So I would actually want to, a bit like the external territories of Australia, it's not an external territory of the US, but I'd like to go to that state above the lower 48, I think it is, like go Alaska. So I think that would be an epic place to feature on the channel. So yeah, I had plans to go to Alaska and also potentially I have been to Vancouver, but I haven't actually gone out into British Columbia and done the whole Canadian Rockies and Alberta and all that sort of stuff. So I think potentially for the bigger trip next year, potentially sort of North America could be on the cards. Go to Alaska, do a bit more of the west coast of America as well. I'd really love to go to Oregon and do a little bit more in Washington State. The Pacific Northwest of the US is a really beautiful place. I've been to Seattle, but yeah, I'd like to explore that region a bit more. So I think, yeah, North America could be a real chance on the cards next year. Last time I went to Europe was 2019. That was an epic trip. I did all the Scandinavia, did all Eastern Europe, even went to Russia, went to everywhere, you know. And then in past trips, I've done the Balkans, I've done Western Europe, I've done Central Europe. Very few countries in Europe I haven't visited, but yeah, I think it's probably more likely I'd do a North America trip over Europe next year, but I wouldn't entirely rule out Europe. Maybe I can incorporate a tiny bit of Europe into a bigger trip, you know, for the purposes of doing flight reviews and that sort of stuff. But I think a few places I haven't really done that much in Europe. I have been to Barcelona, but I haven't done Spain in any intensive manner. So I think Spain in more detail would be something I would be looking at doing in the next few years. Obviously, I haven't actually been in Portugal either, so that would be a good place to go. I think I'd like to go to Iceland. That's saying that would be really cool for the channel, very unique for the channel. So that could be interesting. Central Asia, that would be a really cool place to visit, although it's not probably immediately on the cards. Before all the pandemic and all that sort of stuff, I had quite a lot of plans actually to go to South Africa as well, possibly Namibia, Botswana, all those sort of destinations. That's sort of ended up on the back burner the last few years. But yeah, South Africa is a place I really want to go to as well. It's just a matter of finding the time and to visit. I've always had plans to go do like an Israel and Jordan trip as well, but yeah, things are unfortunately a bit complicated in that part of the region at the moment as well. So pity I didn't get there earlier, but yeah, hopefully one day maybe I can visit the Middle East, do it a bit more comprehensively. That would be really good. I've only really passed through Abu Dhabi and Dubai, so it'd be great to do the Middle East a bit more as well. But yeah, that's probably the potential for international travel next year. I think I haven't actually been to Bali for 2011, 2012 or something like that. So yeah, I should probably do a quick Bali trip. Like, Bali's a really amazing place, you know, outside of the tourist areas. So I think Bali's a place I could do fairly easily. Just go for a week or two, show you around all the more authentic and the more, you know, the beautiful scenery and nature of Bali and that sort of stuff. So I think that could be something I could organise pretty easily. But yeah, I think the main prospects are probably North America and also an Asian trip, South Korea, Vietnam, something like that. So yeah, this is turning out to be quite a long session really, but yeah, I'll have to wind it up in around 55 minutes at the most, because I've got my flight review coming up at 5 o'clock. But yeah, I think it will speed up now a little bit. So I'm just going to ask a few questions now. These are probably more questions people can answer in their own free time when they see the video a bit later on. But basically, with terms of my travel next year, it's only just getting a bit of ideas. What airlines do you want me to try most next year? You know, Bonza, Rex, some of the other smaller Australian airlines. So what are the domestic airlines you want me to feature on the channel? So also if I was to do that overnight trip from Melbourne, would you be more interested in me doing the XPT first class sleeper all the way up to Sydney, or would you prefer me getting the Spirit of Tasmania ferry from Geelong to Devonport? And then there could be other potential ideas as well, you know, an overnight Greyhound bus. I actually did one of those once when I was living in Canberra. It took me down to Melbourne. It worked really well actually, so they're all potential ideas. Look into New South Wales. If I was to do a New South Wales train link journey while I'm over there, what would it be? Obviously I did the Canberra to Sydney, I think it's the Explorer train. That was a very, very slow way to get between the two places. But yeah, I did that last year. That was pretty interesting. So yeah, what would you like me to do? Potentially if I'm around the Sydney sort of area, I might go up to the Blue Mountains or go up to Newcastle or something. So Newcastle to Tamworth or something like that would be cool. You know, I'm thinking if I get a regional train to link me up to a regional destination where I can get a Bonza flight from a regional destination to another regional destination, that would be really, really cool. So yeah, just a bit of food for thought there. If I was to do a Queensland railway journey, what would it be? So obviously if you want to get the Spirit of Queensland, the Tilt train, you can get it all the way up from Brisbane, all the way up to Townsville, even all the way up to Cairns. Or you could just do another train or just do a segment of that, Cairns to Townsville or whatever. There's plenty of opportunities in Queensland as well. So what would take your interest from Queensland? And yeah, just seeking your thoughts and feedback. You want to see some of Australia's external territories? I'm just definitely keen to do it. Yeah, so what do you reckon? Norfolk Island, Christmas Island, Cocos Island. You also got Lord Howe Island. That's technically not an external territory. That's just part of New South Wales, but still voluntarily off the coast. So that would be a cool place to visit as well. But yeah, looking at more internationally, my Qantas frequent flyer points balance at the moment's around about 130,000 points. So yeah, go around 130,000 Qantas points. Definitely saving up for a long haul business class flight. Thinking probably Sydney to Los Angeles, Sydney to Vancouver, something like that. That would be the perfect use of that sort of points, and it'd be a really good review for the channel. So that's what I'm kind of leaning to. Obviously, if I could get Perth to London or Perth to Rome, Perth to Paris, something like that, that would be the holy grail. But it's just very unlikely I'm going to be able to get that reward seat availability for such popular routes. So yeah, you could also potentially get a reward seat to Japan, Sydney to Tokyo, Sydney to Seoul, something like that. I think they're usually around 80,000, something like that. So that could be a good one. You could always use those points, do something crazy like Emirates first class to Christchurch or something like that. But yeah, the experience would go pretty quickly, but it would be pretty amazing. So yeah, you never know. There's plenty of food for thought. You can also redeem it for Malaysia Airlines or Cathay Pacific. So yeah, Northern Territory, Kimberley, all that sort of stuff. Would it interest you? Yeah, you interested in a Nexus Airlines review up to Geraldton, something like that. We would love to do the Nexus Airlines milk run. This is the part of the live stream where I want to get just your feedback and ideas for improvements for the video channel. So this really just, I'll go through some of the things that you could give feedback on, and then yeah, you can just leave your comments later on if you wish to. So the first things first I want to address is video length. Now, My gut instinct is that my videos are way too long. You notice my flight reviews are often minimum 30 minutes usually, sometimes they're 40, even 50 minutes. Most flight reviews are usually around 15 to 30 minutes. So I really like being extensive and thorough. I just film everything when I'm on holidays, traveling around. So that's the way I roll. I like to be thorough, but I appreciate some of you guys may wish to see more concise and shorter videos. So if that's saying you think you would prefer to see is shorter videos across the board, definitely let me know. Well, if you do appreciate the longer form videos, then let me know as well. That would be good feedback. The next one I want to go on about is audio and graphics. You like the audio I'm using at the moment, or the graphics I use, that sort of stuff, or do you think there's room for improvement? At the moment I usually just pull my audio from the YouTube audio library. There's thousands of tracks there, so it's a pretty good way to start when you start a YouTube channel. Plenty of resources there, but yeah, potentially I could look at using a music service or stock music or something like that. It's just got to decide whether it's worth the investment, you know. But yeah, if that's something you really think would improve the channel, let me know. Yeah, and then the other question I want to ask as well is my content on the channel. I've always stayed true to my niche. My channel niche was never to be purely a flight review channel or purely be a walking tour channel, whatnot. That was never the case. The case was always to have a good variety of general travel content, interseeded with aviation and flight reviews and all that sort of stuff as well. So I don't think I've never really deviated from my niche. So I hope that doesn't hurt my channel too much. But yeah, I guess my question is, do my fans who predominantly come for flight reviews and that sort of stuff, are you interested in my other content, my walking tours, all that sort of stuff? Or likewise, those who are more interested in my walking tours, driving content, nature stuff, do the flight reviews interest you, you know? So yeah, just keen to see if people more generally are interested in across everything on my channel, you know. Yeah. Thank you very much, Jay Flyer, for your feedback there. I'm tending to agree about the shorter flight reviews. It would just improve the retention a little bit as well. That's just, it is what it is. It is a metric that affects the YouTube algorithm. If you produce a really long video and someone watches 10 minutes, of a 1 hour video, 10 minutes is pretty good watch time, but out of an hour, it's not actually going to look that good. While if someone watches 10 minutes of a 20-minute video, then that's a really good retention rate. The algorithm's going to probably promote that. So it just is what it is. But yeah, it's something I've got to look at considering for the channel going forward to possibly make it more sustainable. Thanks very much, Young Aussie Flyer, for tuning in. If you haven't seen his channel already, it's an absolutely excellent channel. More of a flight review channel, and definitely his flight reviews are a little bit more concise and a little bit shorter than mine. So yeah, I think you'd really enjoy his style of videos. They're really good, and he's at nearly 1,000 subscribers now. So if you haven't visited his channel already, be sure to check it out and consider subscribing. That would be really good, because he's at nearly 1,000 subscribers, so nearly there, mate. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I was talking about video premieres. Do you guys like video premieres, or are you not so much a fan of them? I personally like the idea of video premieres because I can put them kind of as upcoming releases on my channel, you know, in the week before they go to air, so people get to know about it in advance. I think the downside is that if you're watching a live stream, you can't just watch it, you know, at your leisure during a live stream. You can watch it behind, but you can't go forward. So I think that's potentially a downside. So I think potentially the middle ground is keeping live streams for my flight reviews, but maybe ditching them for my other content like walking tours and that sort of stuff. Because if I'm doing a live stream like for my Bangkok walking tour, which is 2 hours long, people might not want to watch it exactly in real time for 2 hours. It just might not be, it might be better just to schedule a release for them. So get your feedback on that if you don't mind. The other one is, do people actually engage with my other platforms, you know, like my website, Instagram, Discord server, all that sort of stuff? Yeah, and when I do promote my content on that, does that kind of bring you back to the video, or do you just come straight to my YouTube page to watch the content? So yeah, so do my website, do my platforms actually lead to my content? Alright, so that's ideas for improvements and feedback. Thanks very much, Young Aussie Flyer, about your feedback about premieres. Yeah, I think that's really good point there. So thanks for that. Anyway, segment 3. We're moving on to segment 3 now. I'll have to start speeding through this to get this done within half an hour. So now I'm looking at, so some of you are aware I do have a website, AussieJetSetter.com. When I started that website, I started the website probably before the YouTube channel, and I had huge plans about it. I'd do an affiliate marketing sort of model, write up lots of reviews and do destination guides and all that sort of stuff. Maybe I get a few affiliate links and that sort of stuff, and that's the whole way I was thinking. Then I started this YouTube channel, and I'm like, I don't think the two are entirely compatible. So I've kind of come to the realization, I think the website needs to better complement just the YouTube channel. So I used to always do written flight reviews as well to complement my video reviews. So I think going forward in the future, my website's kind of lagged behind in the last few months. I really just posted video recaps of my YouTube premieres. So yeah, I think I really want to kickstart the website again next year, really get written flight reviews coming out to complement my video flight reviews. And yeah, it just provides an extra avenue for the channel and the brand and that sort of stuff. Make it closely linked to the YouTube channel a bit more. So that's one possible initiative. Tell me what you think about that. Young Aussie Fly, yeah, behind the scenes content on the website. I think that's a really good idea. You know, if I'm going to do a website, I really need to offer something in addition to what's on the video flight reviews. You know, just doing a recap and posting the link might not offer as much value as, you know, if I have something more comprehensive. So I think that's a really good idea. The big burning question is YouTube Shorts. Now, my theory, my gut instinct, people have millions of different ideas whether shorts are good if your long form is your main game. Like, my theory is, if I did YouTube Shorts on my main channel, it could potentially damage the channel. People watching shorts might be a different target audience and their retention rates might be lower. So I'm very cautious to do YouTube shorts on my main channel. Definitely keen to explore the idea, but I've already got Instagram where I can do previews of my main content and promote my content on Instagram. So I think that's a good strategy. I think that's definitely driving some viewers over, so that's good. So my gut instinct is I should start a separate shorts channel, Aussie JetSetter Shorts. That would probably be where I'm thinking. That way people who want to watch shorts content, they can watch it to their heart's content. People who don't like shorts content, they like their long form content, then it's not going to necessarily clog up my channel, you know. So yeah, I think I'm leaning towards starting a separate shorts channel, because people can always then link back to my main channel if they want to see the longer form content anyway. So that's where I'm leaning, but let me know what you think about shorts. The next one is Patreon and member exclusive benefits, that sort of stuff. I did set up a Patreon for my channel quite a few months back, but I haven't actively promoted it or anything like that yet. So yeah, still looking at ways to potentially explore those avenues. So let me know what you think on those sort of ideas. I want everyone to be able to see my sort of content, so I'm not looking at like prohibiting people from seeing it, but I think there is potentially, because I value every viewer, every person just as much, you know. So I think, you know, maybe whether it's, you know, recognition on the videos, maybe I can incorporate some extra benefits on my website, some Discord server privileges. Yeah, maybe I can release some of my videos a little bit earlier to members, something like that. There are ideas I could explore that, you know, offer a few tangible benefits to people who are willing to chip in a couple dollars to support the channel, but doesn't penalize anyone who can't, because I support every person who supports my channel, you know. Yeah, and thanks for bringing up the Discord server, Young Aussie Flyer. I do actually have one for the channel. Very small group of people. There's maybe only about 5 or 6 people in the Discord server at the moment. But yeah, it's something I really would love to expand for the channel. Have a really big Discord server. That would be a dream for this channel. Then I can really extend it. I can get a Reddit, subreddit going. I can get Quora. I can get all that sort of stuff. That'd be a great place for aviation fans, plane spotters, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, tell me your thoughts about kickstarting a Discord server. That would be really great, I reckon. What else? Just looking down at my hastily written Microsoft Word document. So yeah, I've talked about a Discord server. Saying on Reddit, that would be pretty cool, I reckon. You know, people can just discuss everyday aviation, discuss their experiences, discuss their, you know, their tips and tricks, all that sort of stuff. That would be really cool. Other thing I'm looking at setting up is Instagram Threads. I have set it up, but I think Instagram Threads does have potential, doing like a bit of a written snapshot of my flight reviews and then posting it Instagram Threads. I reckon that could be a good way to bring it to more audiences as well. Want to do a lot more nature and outdoors sort of content. So I love the great outdoors. I could do more hiking videos. I could do all sorts of national park sort of stuff. Could get a drone. That could be the next thing I could add to my filming arsenal. I've got DSLR, I've got GoPro, I've got pretty good iPhone. Chuck a drone in there, make the videos a bit more cinematic, all that sort of stuff. I reckon that would be really cool. Definitely something I could explore doing in the future as well. Maybe I need to set up another channel for that sort of stuff. I'm not sure, something to think about. The other two things I want to discuss as well, based on how all the hiccups I've had today, I'd need to work on improving my live streaming ability. I'm not going to lie, but I'd love to do more podcasts and Q&A style sessions. Like when I first started my website, I did lots of guides, on frequent flyer programs and frequent flyer hacks and covering aviation announcements and new flight routes and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, whether it's every fortnight or once a month, I do a bit of a live stream or a video where I cover all the events of the day and the topical discussions related to my channel niche. I think that'd be a really great idea. So something to explore there as well. Let me know what you think about that. I think before I wrap up this second last segment, the other thing I potentially could do is kind of like, you could call it archival flight and travel reviews. So when I mean this, I don't mean this to be filler content or content to just do when I don't have content to release. I would expect it to be meaningful content, but I've traveled maybe nearly 50 countries, so I can recount past memorable flight reviews. I could do a bit of a recap of my Perth to London direct flight with Qantas, for example, or other notable long-haul flights. I can talk about the experience. I can maybe provide photos and the footage I have and make it a bit of an interactive, live stream or video or something like that. So that's something I could definitely look at as well, relive travel experiences, all that sort of stuff. So plenty of opportunity and potential there as well. Last segment I like to talk about now is sustainability. Now it's just a reality of running a YouTube channel. My recent trip to Asia, I was there a month, and I reckon I've got 65 production videos to make. And that's not including just flight takeoffs and landings. That's all extra. So probably nearly 100 videos out of it, right? And that's probably not going to be sustainable, that sort of workload going forward. So it's not about every piece of content I've released on the channel. I have absolutely no regrets. I thoroughly enjoy filming everything I do, and whether the video gets 50 reviews or whether it gets 10,000 reviews, I'm just pleased people are watching it nonetheless. But yeah, I probably do have to do little things to make the channel a bit more sustainable going forward. So I think clearly my most popular content are flight reviews and walking tours. So that's definitely where a lot of my content is going to continue going forward. I think probably in terms of posting schedule, I reckon realistically I could probably take around, let's say I took 26 flights in a year. That's one flight review every fortnight, So that's probably a realistic goal to be looking at, I reckon. And then I can probably match that up with a roughly similar amount of walking tours. And then I can continue all my other content, plane spotting specials, hiking stuff, great outdoorsy sort of stuff. I can then, release that on a as it comes sort of basis. So I think that's where I'm looking at going forward. You potentially might not have 3 or 4 videos being released every week. It might be more like 1 or 2, possibly more at certain times a year and less at other times a year. It's just about sustainability at the end of the day. So yeah, and I think with that sustainability, I think it's just probably need to make my videos, probably the walking tours can remain at, you know, the current length they are. But yeah, some of my other content probably need to make it a little bit shorter, make it a little bit more concise, to just, you know, just make it a little bit more viewer friendly, and also, you know, just streamline the production process on my part as well. Last thing to make it sustainable, yeah, as I was alluding to before, is channel memberships and Patreon. I think that could be a way to get a little bit of income as well from the channel. This channel is very much I actually enjoy doing. It's a hobby. It's something I'm really passionate about. Mate, if I was in it to make money, that, you know, I wouldn't be in the right place. You're not going to get a full-time job on YouTube unless you know, got millions of subscribers. So I absolutely do it for the passion. I love doing it, you know. Usually I'm already traveling, so I may as well document it and put it on YouTube. Why not? But yeah, at the end of the day, if I can make a little bit of YouTube AdSense revenue, I've already made around $55 US. So that's, you know, like 75, 80 Australian dollars in 2 weeks. So I'm pretty stoked with that. It's more than I thought. But yeah, if I can make a bit of ad revenue, maybe get a little bit of support on Patreon or for a YouTube channel membership, something like that, and that's always much appreciated. Every cent really counts to just help support and fund the channel, so that's always very much appreciated. It's just I'm trying to work out the best way to sort of do it. Obviously YouTube channel memberships is by far the easiest way to do it, but they also take the biggest cut as well, so I'm not sure if that's always the best way to go. Patreon might be a little bit better way to go, but yeah, I think I could offer yeah, definitely could offer some benefits that don't penalize anyone who doesn't become a Patreon or a member or something, because I'm not about that. I want everyone to be able to see the content. But yeah, you know, if you chip in a few dollars to support the channel, I can definitely give recognition on the videos, potentially on the website. Could potentially do early releases of videos to members. They go to members a week or two before they go live to the public. Could also do a few other sort of initiatives as well. Could even go into e-commerce. I'd love to write a few ebooks or something like that. Publish my travel planning guides, that sort of stuff. Kind of like when I do graphs and spreadsheets, when I work out all the costings of my trips and that sort of stuff. So perhaps I can do some guides, that sort of stuff. Sell them for a couple dollars, something like that. That might be a cool way to make a few dollars as well. But yeah, at the end of the day, I very much do this for the joy of it. If I can get a little bit of AdSense revenue, that's great. That just goes straight back into funding the channel, you know. And yeah, so yeah, I'll get back to you guys about channel memberships and Patreon and that sort of stuff. If you've got any thoughts, whether you like the idea or you're not a fan of the idea, let me know. I'm very open to feedback and suggestions and that sort of stuff. Anyway, I think I'll wrap up today's live stream pretty shortly, because in about 11 minutes time I've got my live premiere of my Firefly Airlines flight review. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting one, as it's ever taken. We're flying 22 minutes or about 129 kilometers on a 737-800 all the way between Langkawi and Penang. You can literally get a ferry between those two destinations. So flying on a jet is really extravagant for such a short route. So it should be a really good one. Hope you enjoy it. Definitely kick on to watch that one. I would recommend, or watch it in your free time, whatever suits you. But yeah, I think I'll wrap it up now. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully I can just tidy it up a little bit for my post-production release, but we'll see how we go. Thanks for bearing with me with all the technical issues I have. I think in future I want to do my live streams with my DSLR camera, my Canon 200D. That would be my preference, but yeah, for today it was just easy to use my iPhone, and because it's already hooked up to the internet, you know. But yeah, thanks very much for tuning in. Please do, if you have any feedback or comments or ideas, leave them in the comments below when I do release this channel. You know, also, you know, just direct message me on Instagram as well. If you haven't already, look at my Instagram. You can always give me feedback via there as well. But yeah, thanks very much for tuning in today. Hopefully next time I do a live stream, or, you know, it will go a lot smoother. But yeah, I think it's been a very productive session nonetheless. Thank you to all you guys who have tuned in today and who will tune in to watch it on the replay. But yeah, thanks very much. And for now, what better time? Yeah, stick around and watch my Firefly flight review in about 10 minutes from now. Anyway, we'll call it afternoon for this live stream. Until the next one, we'll talk later.